Welcome to another Down the Rabbit Hole video, and all I have to say is, really, seriously, only one person has done a review of the PlayStation VR version of LA Noire? Are you serious? Okay, so I'm gonna have to, no pun intended, throw my hat in the ring then, because I was really looking forward to this game coming out, and I was waiting for a lot of people to say if the PlayStation VR version is any good. Who is that person who did the only PSVR review? Polish Paul. He's got a great channel, highly recommend it. I'm going to put a link below to the one and only PSVR review for LA Noire. And that's Polish Paul's. He did a good job. In fact, a better job than I'm about to do in this little review. This game looks amazing. I'm surprised nobody's talking about it. Now, whereas Polish Paul actually went into a lot of detail and tried all the different cases, I'm not going to do that in my video because I haven't actually played through that much of the game. And the reason is I actually held off because I had heard on Reddit it wasn't anywhere near as good as it actually ended up turning out to be. So I just wanted to very briefly talk about what is so great about LA Noire on PSVR. Anyone not familiar with the original PlayStation 3 game, you're basically going around 1940s LA and you're solving various mysteries as a detective. And it's kind of nice because it's not so much a shooter, it's not so much a puzzle game, it's kind of a combination of both. Here's a murder scene that I'm investigating. What's really great though, and nice about the PlayStation VR version, it looks really, really good. If you've played any of the other VR titles, you're kind of giving up the hope of ever being able to see a nice big open world with a lot of detail. And yeah, it does look a little blurry in the game, but it's very acceptable. I'm really enjoying No Man's Sky as a side note, and it's blurrier than this. This looks really crisp and clean and has a lot of excellent details in it. I highly recommend it. In fact, that's probably the biggest thing about LA Noire on PSVR are the graphics.
I thought it was a car backfiring. I saw a girl run at the shoe store.
Now, the big selling feature of this game when it originally came out for the PS3 was this facial motion capture animation thing that they had done on the actors, where, as you're about to see, I'm going to be interrogating this lady in the shoe shop. The visceral level of animation they did on each of the actors, like I guess they put the little dots on their faces or something, they really captured what the expression are on all of these people, which is really critical to being able to solve the mysteries. Now, it's really neat, and in VR, it's a double-edged sword, because on the one hand, the faces kind of morph from one animation string to another, and it makes it a little bit uncanny valley. On the other hand, though, in 3D, and with the really nice graphics that this game is putting out for PSVR, I feel like I'm really talking to real people way more than I did in any other game. You go from door to door sometimes, and you interrogate various suspects, gather up your clues. Really good game on that front. The controls are super clunky, though. Polish Paul talked about this, and he's right. There's click turning as an option. I'm using the locomotion, which is only, it's like tank controls. You can only move around rotating with the two buttons and then go forward. So it's, if you're used to kind of that Skyrim control model where you're using one move controller to kind of indicate what direction to go in, that's no good. This is a game that it really takes you a while to figure out. I'm about to talk to this Schroeder fella here. But the interiors look nice. You really get that feeling of being in Los Angeles in the 1940s. It's very, very cool. Just the control scheme, it really takes a lot to get used to. Especially when driving.
To know that Scooter Payton was murdered tonight with your gun.
But the driving is actually, once you get your head wrapped around it, it's a very cool feature because you can go and check out these different locations. You set them as a destination on your map, which is that kind of clock thing on the dashboard there. It gives you a flag indicating where to go. I really like the kind of, did you see there, like look at the stop-start sign thing? That really takes me back to like old cartoons of the era, the 1940s era. Very, very cool.
Mr. Kalu is out back. He said he'd lie down. I'll buzz him for you.
Son of a...
Locate your prime suspect and then give chase to him as he tries to take off. This is again where the controls get a little clunky though, because this running doesn't feel very good. Then, when he's trapped you and you've trapped him, you can actually resort to a fist fight. This is kind of cool, especially if you're a fan of any of the boxing games. It's a little bit easy though. I've heard some people say there's kind of a nice simple workaround for how to get through these fights, but I won't spoil it here. It's a nice little added touch though. You take the suspect in to get interrogated. Here's your police boss who suggests you do the questioning because you've of course collected up all the clues, which I did not do in my playthrough. I will say that is actually something that's a bit of a learning curve with this title. You really need to make sure you've collected enough clues before you get to this stage of the adventure. This guy though, this police chief who suggests you go in and interrogate the prisoner, he's really well rendered in VR, and they all are, but like when he's standing this close to you, you'd swear you're talking to a human being right in front of you. It's an incredible experience. It's something I really look forward to with more of LA Noire.
Do you think you might be ready for that?
We've got to be thorough, Cole. Check into every corner.
So it's all good stuff. It's a AAA title. I highly recommend it. Well, yes and no. I mean, definitely the thing that's got me about LA Noire, and the reason I was so miffed nobody was actually reviewing this thing, is the fact that it's a top-notch title. LA Noire was on PS3 a AAA release. And when I'd heard it was coming out for the VR platforms, I was a bit annoyed that it wasn't out for PSVR. Thought, okay, maybe that's a limitation of the controllers, which... yeah, given this control scheme, I kind of get that might actually be what happened there. But it's now out, so I was thinking, okay, well, we're obviously all going to rush to buy this and show Rockstar that it's worthwhile to put these kinds of titles out on PSVR. And then almost nobody was talking about it. I checked a Reddit forum, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, and it sounded really bad from the description people were saying. It was like, well, when you start off, it's all flat screen, and then you put your hat on in one particular room, and that opens up the VR case, or something to that effect. Maybe that was the original Oculus version, but with PSVR, as long as you've got the VR helmet on when you start up the game, it immediately launches you. The menus are all in VR, you walk around the office in VR, everything is done in VR. So I don't know where this idea came up on Reddit that it was only, it's only 7 cases compared to, I think, did the original have 20 odd? But they're very well done, and I was thinking to myself, okay, well, luckily there's so many people that I watch on YouTube who do video reviews for LA or for other titles. There's going to be a lot of reviews for LA Noire when it comes out on PSVR. Nope, just Polish Paul. Oh, there have been a lot of like trailers, hey, it's coming, or first impressions for an hour and a half as somebody plays the game, or silly moments, but no actual review. And I feel the need to at least contribute to that, to let somebody else know, hey, it's a worthwhile title to get. Also, I think we always give complaints in the community that not that many big AAA titles are coming to PSVR. Sure, you've got a handful now. You've got your Skyrims, your LA Noire now, you've got No Man's Sky, but most of the stuff that we see is all puzzle games or roller coaster things or carnivals or whatever. Where are our big AAA experiences? This is one of them. And the fact that nobody's talking about it other than these little, previews and let's plays, and there have been actually, to be fair, there have been some reviews in French and Spanish, but I don't speak those languages, so that didn't help me much. And I guess maybe just everybody's relying on, well, the Oculus review from last year stands up, just watch that, but now it's in PSVR. And I thought, no, come on, we got to be able to talk about what the graphics look like, how those Move controllers are, because they have a few problems. Is it a worthwhile purchase? I was holding off, especially after that Reddit post. Luckily, Polish Paul, and again, I'm going to recommend you watch his video. Mine's just glazing over the top. He goes into what it's like for all of the different missions. Check out Polish Paul's review, and I do suggest getting this game, though the tank controls are not stellar. Just two little mini games, though, I do want to touch on, which I think are exclusive to the PSVR version. If you go into the War Room, there's actually two very nice things you can check out here. You can do a boxing match ring, which is kind of cool. You can actually take on some of the other cops, I think, initially, and then as you do well and you go through all the boxing events, you actually take on, I guess there are some of the bad guys that you encounter later in the game. I got to a certain point where I was no longer taking on police chiefs and sergeant so-and-so. I was actually taking on these unknown characters, and I thought, right, I better hold off. I better not fight these guys because I haven't played the story to that degree, and I don't want to have anything spoiled. But just the fact that you can do this, it's a lot of fun. It's a nice little mini game extra. But my other favorite are the shooting ranges, and there's about 4 of them, which are really fun. This one is my favorite, the Carnival range. You actually get to just shoot, you know, metallic targets like you would at a carnival, especially in the era. The game just has a great feeling to it, and I really love anything that just sets up shooting galleries. There have been a few arcade collections where I thought, oh, okay, I'm gonna get this just to be able to shoot the little metallic ducks or what have you. And the fact that LA Noire actually includes a shooting range, not just this carnival one. There's a few where you've got to shoot targets or the sort of cardboard cutouts of people. It's got a great bunch of replayability. These little extra bonus pieces are something that I really enjoy about about LA Noire on PSVR. I think these are exclusive. And that is LA Noire for PSVR. I'm doing this review because I just feel really bad that only one other person had ever done it. I mean, seriously? At least now there's 2 proper reviews out there. Highly recommend it. This game is a lot of fun. It looks absolutely gorgeous. The realism of the characters and this open world that you can drive around in, fantastic. The controls need work. It's been a month or so since this released before I posted this. I hoped maybe Rockstar would patch in better controls with the moves, but so far it's these really bad tank controls. I don't know, maybe teleportation, if that's more your style, that would be preferable, but regardless, I'm going to head out on the open road here, and I'm just going to say I think it's worth the price tag, and I think we should send a message out that we want more games like this. Alright, well, until next time, we'll see you down the rabbit hole.